Okay, today we're taking a look at the Banbroken Hispano training shoe. So this is a company that's out of Spain, and they came up with a new brand and training shoe. I think the brand's been around for a little bit, and they've made like CrossFit accessories, but this is their first training shoe, like debuted like a little bit earlier in the year. I think it was like a Kickstarter thing. And finally went into production, or did go into production, and they just started shipping out. So I got my pair last week, straight from Spain. And if you wanted to buy these, you could buy them right now. I think they go for like $185, and that's including tax and shipping and whatever like the import fee is. And then there's also like just the normal colorways that are, I think, $10 cheaper. While these are a new training shoe, they probably remind you of a shoe that's been out for a while. They really resemble Nobles, and it's impossible to not say that, because they're just really similar in the shape, in the way that the upper is, and just all around. But I guess let's go around the upper, and then I kind of formulate our own opinions on if it is the same or if it's not the same. So we have a fabric upper, some kind of mesh material, and then on top of that there are like little overlays or little pods of some kind of, I don't know, probably some kind of polyurethane, and that kind of blends itself into that Noble look, because with Noble you have the super fabric and it's got like ceramic pods on top of a mesh material. So pretty similar there, except this does have a overlay, some kind of polyurethane for the toe bumper, and then around the eye stays as well, and then also around the lateral and medial sides as like some kind of rope guard. And now this overlay it's a little like matte, and I'm wondering how that's gonna hold up to punishment, especially rope burn, because I feel like it almost has like a paper feel to it, and I feel like that might get torn up pretty quickly. Coming around to the back part of the shoe, there is a heel counter, and it has, I'm assuming that it's that same overlay, but it has like a nylon or PVC kind of clear coating around it. It's pretty interesting. It has some words, and there's kind of a lot going on with the shoe just in general in terms of the design. I think that's fine, that's okay. Some people are gonna like it. There's some plain colorways there. I don't mind it. I think that the loud kind of standout-ish thing is my vibe, but it's not gonna be for everybody. The midsole is that same kind of, just loud pattern, lots of band broken all over the shoe. Kind of almost looks like a map in a way. And then the midsole, I mean, it's some kind of EVA foam. I don't think it's any kind of real technical foam, but that's fine. It's for a training shoe, that's all right. And then you have the outsole that does have raised sidewalls. Let's actually look at the sidewalls. So you have a higher sidewall that kind of reaches up towards the metatarsals, little break there in the sides, probably for like flexibility. And then you have a raised sidewall in the lateral side, which is pretty much the same on the medial side, and that's presumably for rope protection. And then kind of goes up a little bit at the heel of the shoe. There's no heel clip or anything like that, or for handstand push-ups, but that's okay. And then you've got a really wide patch of outsole or rubber that comes up at the toe bumper, and that's probably going to be pretty beneficial for doing burpees. Coming out to the outsole, we have a lot of ridges in the forefoot, a lot of flex grooves, got a herringbone pattern mainly throughout, and it has breaks for just flexibility throughout, just like the entire outsole. And then there's like a hexagon pattern at the heel part that's probably to like expand and contract when you like put pressure down. And mainly flat contact. There's a little bit of a toe spring, but it's not too bad. I wonder how that's gonna feel when the shoe's on. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to just like the upper and contract. Oh, you know what? I forgot to talk about this part. So there's a little button on the tongue, and that's to hold your laces in place. The laces are just kind of a flat, basic lace, but it's fine if they stay tied. Clip this back on. Let's see how hard this is to do. Kind of a small button, but I guess if you get used to it. And that's like an elastic material. The tongue is, I would say, medium thickness. It's ventilated throughout, and same with the ankle collar. The heel seems a little bit high, but that's probably better for like heel retention. And then you can see through the inside that there's like perforations in the mesh, and that's very similar to Noble. That's something that the Impact Trainer, was what it's called now, has throughout. And then let's take a look at the insole. It's a anatomical. It's actually pretty nice. It's pretty thick. Well, it's probably not like that thick. It's like maybe 3 millimeters thick. And it's nice and soft. It's anatomically molded. It has a nice little design to it. Can't really complain about that. It's not too bad. They didn't cheap out there. And for the price, you can't. I mean, these things are not cheap. $185. Granted, that's including shipping, and I'm sure they had to factor in some kind of like worldwide shipping there, and then like import, export taxes. That probably all goes into the actual price. I wonder if they're cheaper if you just buy them in Spain. I don't know though. And I'm not so sure what the drop is, but like they have like a little technical drawing on their website, and it says like the heel is like 31.4 millimeters, and the forefoot's like 27.4 or 27.5 or 31.5 or something like that. But that equates to a 4 millimeter drop, which I'm gonna assume that these are a 4 millimeter drop. Another thing is when I weighed them, they weighed in at 13.5 ounces for a men's size, 10.5 US or a 44.5 EU. And that's okay for a training shoe that's not heavy, that's not light. It's kind of like average at this point. Very, once again, similar to the Noble Impact in weight. And then I did slip these on. I didn't really do too much in them, but I did slip them on. And they fit, I would say, true to size. And there's a decent amount of space in the toe box. It pretty much has like a anatomically shaped toe box. Decent width. And these are still like brand new, so they probably will break in. The fabric should kind of loosen up as I wear them. Today we're gonna be using these for some hang snatches. We're gonna be doing the hang snatches in the garage. I do have a Metcon a little bit later, but right now I'm gonna do some hang snatches, and I'm gonna do some heavy back squats, and we'll see how these hold up. Yeah, let's get working, and I'll let you guys know how these stand up to their first workout. But I forgot one more thing. I wanted to show you guys the box that it comes in. This is the shoe box that it comes in. It's pretty crazy. It's like a big cylinder, and definitely not the norm. There's a lot of space in there, and that's pretty much all that comes inside of it. But it is pretty cool as far as presentation goes. And then they also sent me some knee sleeves, which feel pretty nice. They're like pretty hefty. They've got some kind of like grippy lining inside, so they shouldn't slip. And then I'm gonna say that these are a 7mm sleeve. They look a little bit tight around the calf. This is a size large. But once again, these ship in like a nice box, and then they come with this carrying case. So the presentation, at least for Banbroken, is pretty nice, actually. It's gonna be 4 hang snatches. Have to keep your hat on. Okay, so far, and these. Okay, so far, it's like really hard to get away from this, but these shoes feel pretty much identical to Noble's, Noble Impacts. I mean, just about everything about them, like the height, the toe spring, the way that they feel against the ground, feels like Noble Impacts. Maybe a little bit softer, a little bit more flexible, a little bit less midsole, but I mean, if you put these on my feet blindfolded, I would probably just think that they were Nobles. Yeah, there's a decent amount of toe spring on them, just like the Impacts, which I don't love. Maybe it'll just, as they break in, it'll go away. But that's something I don't like about the Impacts too. Though, I did hit some pretty massive weights. Hit a 225 snatch in them, hit a 300-pound clean. So, it wasn't that much of a deterrent for me to not be able to hit like big weights. So I'm supposed to be going for 165 today, but I went out this weekend, still feeling that. So we'll see what 165 feels like, and then we'll figure it out from there. Probably use straps today, even though I don't normally use straps, but for what I'm assuming is an unbroken set of 4 hang snatches, I think it's warranted because my grip is just not so good. People are gonna give him a lot of shit for pretty much, I mean, already looking like Nobles, but feeling just about the same as Nobles too. And we're talking about a much higher cost, at least for people in the United States, much higher. And you know, feeling like Nobles is not a bad thing. I actually like Noble Impacts. I don't think that they are the end-all be-all best shoe, but I think they do everything well. They don't have any huge faults. And I think it just was a little too late by the time they released. People had been asking for a new shoe for forever, and then finally 5 years later, they came out with a new shoe. And everybody at that point was just like, already done with Noble. Foot kind of got stuck on that last one, my left foot. Grip seems pretty good. Toe spring doesn't seem like it's going to be an issue. Those mainly felt pretty good. I landed in pretty decent positions. 4mm drop is something I do like. Shoes are pretty good and stable. I'd say response is pretty good too. Like they don't feel like mushy or anything like that. The midsole's pretty dense. Generally pretty comfortable. I feel a little bit of pressure on the medial side of my right foot where my bunion is. But yeah, that's usually the case with a lot of shoes. A little forward. Yeah, that by the end I was just jumping forward. And that wasn't the shoes. I could tell like that my grip straps are loosening up. And when that happened, it kind of just loosened the bar wants to get away from me. And I think that's what's causing the jump forward. Yeah, the toe spring, I'm getting pulled forward when I lower the bar down. And I'm trying to like re-grip the bar, and I lower and I drop to my hips. Because the toe spring is like what it is, it like rocks you forward. And it's just naturally just sits off the ground. And even with the amount of pressure that I put down, it's not really settling. We'll try a set without straps. See if I do it any better. Yeah, I should just lay out the straps. Even with my grip not being warm, I still was able to do that set a lot better than with straps. It's impossible to say that these are not like Nobles. Like they are the splitting image of Nobles. It's not a bad thing because Noble Impacts are pretty decent training shoes. But you know, if you were looking at something different, or you wanted to try something different, these really aren't going to be the ones. They're not bad, for sure not bad. They're just uninspired, or maybe too inspired. Okay, we've got 375 for 3, then we're gonna drop set to 265. It's like my roundabout setup. It's like so random of a number. It's hard to get to. So yeah, they feel pretty good squatting. Like good ground contact. Toe spring doesn't really get in the way because you're just squatting, right? You can really like hunker down and stay back a little bit more when you're just squatting, as opposed to like when you're only lifting, you might blend forward and then the toe spring gets you. Oh, I got pitched forward on that one. Kind of fast descent on the last one. I got pitched forward. That's not pleasant. Yeah, if you're in a hurry, you don't settle yourself into your squat better. You can definitely get pitched forward, as demonstrated right there.